Hey, what's up, guys? This is Justin Johnson. I'm going to be building a guitar this time for you guys. I'm going to be building my first ever parts caster and talk a little bit about the parts I got, where I got them, why I got them, and then show you how to build it. I'm going to pull you over here to the workbench, and we're going to put this baby together. All right, so first things first, check out this body right here. This is the Tele-Style body. And this is totally hand-tooled leather on this body. It's got it looks like a solid pine core, but you can see the pick guard and all of this embellishment, all this embellished leather sort of built into the top. You know, it's nice and flush right there. But you can see it's all hand-tooled, and it's made by this company, Bodsy. And they just do crazy custom leather work. I mean, the stuff is amazing. They did all of this by hand. You got like the rattlesnake tail here. And then check out the back here on the sides. Look at that right there on the side too. That's carved into the wood and burned. And then on the back, check this out. I remember one of the first guitars I ever played, my brother owned it, and he pasted this piece of paper with this poem on the back of that guitar, and it always really stuck with me. And so when they asked what I wanted on the back of this in leather, in addition to these flowers and designs, I asked them to put this poem in there. Check it out. All right, now one thing, if you built a Tele before, you know, or if you know a lot about Teles, you know that they're almost always hardtail, which means they have holes drilled through the body itself. And then when you string them, you actually string them through on the other side of the body from underneath. I didn't want to do this one hardtail, or it didn't have holes on it, and I don't want to drill them myself. So instead, I got this bridge right here. And unlike most Tele bridges, this one is designed to lay on top, and the metal is it's actually CNC'd out of one piece of metal, and you can even see those CNC marks right there. But it's really heavy, it's dense steel, and because the strings, they go through right here on the end, and because they go into that solid metal, it actually sustains just like that string through body, just like that hardtail. So you don't actually have to drill through the body on this guitar in order to get that Tele sustain. Also has brass saddles, which adds even more to the sustain and tone. So another cool thing that Bodsy threw in here with the body is this decorated neck plate right here. That's what goes underneath, and the neck goes in this slot. This goes underneath, and the screws come in from below there. That's awesome. It's got their brand on it. And it's also solid brass. They also tooled these. I didn't even know these were in here. They were in the cavity here. These are going to be for the volume and tone knob. And they hand tooled all of these. There's the strap buttons too. It'll go on either side. And I love it too because that brass is going to match the brass on the tailpiece here, on the saddle, I mean. All right, for pickups, I wanted to go with that aged look, but not just aged, you know, in the appearance. I wanted to have kind of an old vintage tone. So I went with these Seymour Duncan Antiquity 2 Tele-Style pickups. And these ones are actually, they did a really killer job of aging them. Check that out. So you can see like it's got those marks that make it look like it's been played for years, you know, kind of like the strings have been slapping against that pickup. So that's the neck pickup right here. And then, of course, we have that cool vintage-looking bridge pickup right there. Of course, that's going to go underneath when it's all done. And then for the wiring, there's a lot of different ways you can wire a Tele, even though, you know, you think that, well, it's got two pickups. There's only one way to wire it with a three-way toggle switch. But I actually got this I'm really curious about from Golden Age. This was through StuMac. I got most of these parts through StuMac.com. But this is pre-wired, so it'll make it easier, which to me is way more fun when you can just sort of put something like this together. You don't have to do a lot of thinking, don't have to do a lot of soldering. You know, the electronics is basically the most complex part of this. But for this, what's nice is it's actually a four-way toggle switch. And this is going to be like the standard three-way Tele wiring, so neck, parallel, and bridge. But then this one has a fourth setting where it'll actually throw both pickups in series. So it kind of turns them into one, almost like one big humbucker pickup almost. So I've never tried a Tele like that. And I thought, well, I'm building this one. Let me go the extra mile there and hot rod this baby. So I'm excited about that. I've never done it, so I've got my instructions here. We'll see how that goes. And also, since this is supposed to be basically a Fender Telecaster, you know, I thought, why not go as close as possible? I got this awesome Fender. It's made in Mexico, but man, it's really high quality. It's a roasted maple neck. So I love the feel of the Tele necks when it's just one piece maple neck, maple fretboard here. But this one's roasted, and so it matches the guitar perfectly. I mean, look at that. It's going to be beautiful. And because it's roasted, it should have a little more sustain, a little more warmth to it. Also, to go with the Fender theme, I've got these Fender locking tuners. I had some of these on my first Strat that I ever owned, and really liked them. So I'm gonna keep with the Fender brand here a little bit. And then a few things to just round it off. I've got this, which is going to be my jack. It fits in the hole here on the side where I'm going to put my 1/4-inch jack. All right, so those are all the parts. Now let's have some fun. Start putting this baby together. All right, well, I guess the most instant gratification is going to be putting this neck on right here. Let me go ahead and fit this in here. Just kind of dry fit it. So I've got my neck plate here. I've got some screws here. Flip this baby over. Make sure that's lined up. Pop that neck plate on. All right, so in trying to screw in this neck plate, I hit my first snag here. So I slowly started putting the screws in just to see, and I felt them hitting the wood on the neck. And it wasn't screwing into the pre-drilled holes, and so you can see right there where the screw was hitting is just a little bit shy. That means that this piece of wood right here is a little too long to easily fit in this pocket. And so I need to scrape some of this area out to allow that neck to basically just scoot a little more that direction. All right, there she is, baby. All right, so the next challenge is going to be getting this baby on there, the bridge. The main thing you want is you want to make sure it's lined up exactly, and I mean exactly, with the neck. It's got to be totally parallel with the neck, no bending like this, twisting. Also, because this cavity is so small here, I'm going to go ahead and put the pickup in that pickup slot just to make sure that when I'm positioning this, it's not going to lead to anything down the road of this pickup not fitting in there. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. There it is. All right, that fits pretty good. Now time for me to line up this bridge and get it screwed in place. All right, so like I said, I need something really straight to mark this position of this with, because I want this to be perfectly parallel. And so I'm basically going to continue this line with some tape. I don't want to permanently mark up this body, even though it's going to be below the pick guard. Just as close to that line as I can get. I'm going to do the same thing to the other side. All right, so I've got that lined up now. Okay, I got it nice and centered right here. Got it running parallel with the neck. I got it in place with my scale length, and I'm going to go ahead and screw it in. Okay, so you can see there I've got the one guide hole for my bridge, basically this hole right here. I've got it drilled into the body. And so what I'm going to do to finish the alignment on this bridge is I'm going to put the tuners on so that I can attach the tuners, and then I can put the bridge on with just the one bolt, and with 2 strings I'll basically make sure that that bridge is perfectly lined up parallel. I'll show you what I mean, but first let's get these tuners on. All right, so the tuners I have are these Fender locking tuners, and let's get them out. They should just, you know, because this is a Fender neck and because it's Fender tuners, it should be super easy just to fit right into these holes, no screwing necessary, but let's see. Let's test that out. Yeah, see, so they've just got these 2 pegs in each tuner. See if you can see that. And those will fit right into the slots. All right, so I got those babies on. They look great. And one thing to note when you're doing this kind of tuner is you can see that the height of the tuner staggers down. It gets lower as it goes up the headstock. And that's because when the string comes over and it hits the nut right here, it's going to actually bend down. And you want that. That's called the break angle, is the angle at which that string bends down at either the nut or the bridge. And so you want that angle to get, be nice and sharp. So these ones out here on the end are lowered a little bit closer to that surface of the headstock there for that reason, to keep that break angle nice and sharp. I'm going to drill that 1 screw in, and then I'm going to put the high E and the low E string on. And the tension of those 2 strings pushing the same is going to help me line up this bridge right here. All right, so I got these 2 strings on. As you can see, they line up with the neck. Also, the bridge right here is nice and straight. I'm going to go ahead and mark my holes for the rest of these 3 and get that baby down for good. I guess let's move on to wire this baby up with the rest of the pickup system. All right, so in order to use this pre-wired rig right here, I've got to modify this wiring on this pickup, and I'm going to break out my instructions, do a little studying, and figure this out. All right, so basically following the wiring grid, I've got to break this and solder that to right there at this point, which is actually connected to the pickup cover on the other side. Okay, so there's my lead, there's my ground from the pickup, and here's my second ground off of the pickup cover. All right, now I'm going to run these cables through, you can see that chamber right there. So now I'm going to take this pre-wired tone volume toggle switch, and I'm going to take it off of this mount. So it comes on this mount, and it's supposed to be spaced so that it easily fits into those slots and holes. It looks like it's going to line up just right. Let's see. Okay, so it looks like everything's spaced out just right, and it looks like all the holes line up. But these 2 holes, it looks like they're a little narrow for the shafts on the tone and volume knob, so I'm just going to drill those a little bit wider. All right, let's wire this baby up. So these 3 wires are coming from the neck pickup here. These 2 wires are coming from the bridge. And I'm just going to follow the diagram that came with this wiring system and get this baby in. Okay, so I got the wiring soldered on to the toggle switch here, and I still have to connect the ground wire back through this hole and down at the base of this bridge plate. But for now, I'm going to check the wiring and just make sure this is all coming through. All right, so here's that grounding wire that was coming off of that volume pot right there. And I brought that back through the channel down here. And that's just going to lay under and make contact with the metal on this bridge. And that's what grounds the guitar out when you touch it. So it takes that buzz away, the grounding buzz. So I'm going to lay that down there, lay this over, and just screw that baby in. So you see, that screws in just like that. And now I'll push this back in. I'll just drill these 2 holes, these small screws here, and then that baby will be in. All right, so I tried plugging it in, and It's getting a. I did something wrong here, so I'm gonna go through here. It's not really getting a signal, and it's making a lot of noise, as you can see. So yeah, I'm gonna dig through here, make sure everything's wired correctly. I feel like I might have switched the live and the ground wire on the tele pickup because it's yellow and blue, so I'm not sure. Usually it's white and black. I'm gonna check that out. Okay, after after about 20 minutes of like tapping and tweaking and just moving things around, figured out that when I ground the back of this volume pot right here to the metal, all of the noise goes away. And so I think that this is there to act like shielding, but I forgot you have to connect the ground wire to the shielding in order for that to work. So now I've got it. I attached this small wire here to right below where that toggle switch screws in. And when I put it basically back in place, I'm still plugged in. Let me turn it up. I can, yeah, it's nice and quiet now. I can tap on the pickups. Tell that both of them work. Tell that the wiring's set up right. And now I'm just going to leave it plugged in. I'm going to put this stuff back in the cavity here. And hopefully it'll all work again when it's all in place. All right, so now that it's working, last thing to do is screw this 1/4-inch jack on. Voila. All right. Now for hardware, got these knobs that were made by Bodsy, the same company who did the body here and the leather work. Made these, and then so this is for the tone and volume knob here. And looks like they were hand tooled out of brass. That's awesome. They're heavy too. So that's going to be there, and then I'm going to screw in on each side of the guitar here. I'm going to screw in these strap buttons. Oh, and God, it looks like these really stout pots right here are too thick. They're too thick for that hole that's in there. So luckily I've got some backups to go with that aged Fender vibe. I've got got these again from stumac.com. These are chrome, but they're aged chrome. So I'm gonna string this baby up. That's the next step. And man, it's almost done. It's exciting.